9:15.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning. It's October 29th. Don't want to turn off epidemic all the way. This is a simulcast between three social networks: YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter Live. You can find me by the handle at the @ FAU for you. FAU, the letters FAU, the number 4, the letter U. FAU for you. And you'll find all of Jimmy's broadcasts, at least between two of the networks. Twitter, not so much. I don't know, they canceled my account for some unknown reason. I can't find a reason, and I can't uncancel it, suspended, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. @ FAU for you. And we'll just X out the other. No, I'll keep broadcasting on there. I can find it. Jim W 5596 with a capital J and a capital W. Anyway, it's a Simulcast. How about that for a word? And we broadcast somewhere between 9 and 10:30 on weekdays. However, we're concentrating on 9:15, and I'm ready so early now. I may even start at 9. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to try to start at 9. I mean, today I was hanging around 15 minutes waiting to push the button. But anyway, so how come I can't add me? There we go. Oh, you got a full screen, Jimmy. All right, we'll cover up the keyboard because oops. Just wanted to show you. I voted. Veterans. Celebrate your veterans by voting. They fought for us, so we have the right to vote. Yes, sir, Bob. I voted. My vote counts. It counts one time. Just, vote early and often, as they say in Chicago. Yeah. No, just early, not often. And we got all kinds of. This is the last chance for what they call a stink bomb, where the opposition party, to whomever is your favorite, finds something really, really stinky, and they throw it out there to try to change some votes. Or, some people that haven't voted yet. There's an awful lot of people that have already voted. Like some 50 million. Now, they're going to be like 100 and... I'm averaging up. Because there's a lot of interest in this election and a lot of people voting. I don't know how they're voting. The polls... I'll show you that in a minute. They're just inching... It's like moving a 900 million pound train. It moves very slowly in the beginning as the engines, try to move something one way or the other. Anyway, I have some polling data, of course, as you know. I am very polling. Trying to find out how we find it. There we go. Here's some interesting polling information from the great state of Arizona. Look at that. I took this central piece. It's all, I don't know why they have that angle stuff. This is just for Arizona. So the Marist poll is one up for Trump. The WAPO share poll is up 3. So it was 46 and now it's 49. The New York Times Siena poll is up 5 in favor of the Trumper, 51 to 46. New York Times, the Wall Street Journal has Harris up 2, 48-46. The AARP poll, Trump up 2, 48 to 50. Fox News poll, 48 to 51, up 3. The Suffolk poll is up 6. And the CNN poll is up 5, 44-49. So there's only one oddball there. It's the Wall Street Journal, which has Harris up 2, 48-46. Who knows what's really going to happen? So Netflix is in the news. They have the largest installed subscription base. 280 million. I'll do an expando. Look at that, 280 million subscribers. Jimmy is one of them. Otherwise, it would be 279 million, 9901. Yeah. Israel continues its targeted bombing inside of Iran because they're trying to neutralize all the effects. They're punishing Iran for them bombing Israel. The news here with the hamburger, if you're wondering, why is the hamburger, leading the, they have announced and they have certified, verified, and otherwise convinced us that the hamburger is not the problem for the Escherichia coli outbreak among X number of states in McDonald's. It was the onions that were the culprit. And, what happens is some bad farmers somewhere, could be Mexico, could be, wherever they get their onions from, and they could be, farmed anywhere and put on an airplane and, they go through, inspections and, all this stuff. Anyway, the onions were contaminated with Escherichia coli, which you don't want to eat that. No. You get violently sick. I don't know if it's deadly or not, but it's something you don't want to eat. It has to do with the bacteria that's associated with fecal material. And of course, if you sprinkle that around, the dirt and hoe it in, mechanically or individually, a tractor can roll over the dirt with these special rollers, and that tends to aerate and hoe. So if you fertilize the land and then you hoe it, and then it rains, and then you hoe it, and then it rains, and then you plant your onions. Well, if there's a Escherichia coli floating around in that dirt, of course the onions grow really nicely because of the other parts of the excrement that the plant likes. But in the leaves and in the surrounding that onion, it can be some contamination, which can make you very sick. So it's not in the meat; it was in the onions. So they found that out and eliminated that from something that you have to worry about. Well, look at that. You see the leaves turning and all that? You see that tree? They're going to cut that beautiful sucker down and bring it into New York City for the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. That seems so terrible to kill that tree. Oh gosh. I know. I'm dead against, pardon the expression, I am against cutting down beautiful things for ornamental purposes. They put it in water, they give it this and that, and eventually, they just pitch it. They cut it up and pitch it in I don't know how they dispose of it, but it's after, this is November, then you got December, and then right after New Year's, that's the end of that. And they get rid of the ornamental tree that has been killed, so to speak. I don't like that. See this cheese? This is world-class cheese, and someone stole $400,000 worth of this cheese. I think from London. Yeah, it's terrible. On the good side of things, someone has returned this book to the library, but it's 100 years past due. Can you imagine? 100 years past due. That's a long time. Yep. Yeah. That comes down there. I have my phone connected in case someone would call and join the program. The book was returned 100 years late. The book fine was $35.27. I don't know what can you imagine the fines? FINES. I don't know. All right, there's Trump talking. There is someone voting. And here is the battleground states. If they have a red color, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia, plus 0.9 of a point, plus 0.8 of a point, plus 1.2. Pennsylvania is, they say Nevada is tied, and Harris is up 0.9, 0.8, and 0.6 for Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. I question whether Nevada is a toss-up, but this is what CNN thinks. Yep, there's the CNN analyst. He's very motivated, agitated, and otherwise involved. Average of state polls conducted since October 8th. That's 21. Nah, it's 20. That's 3 weeks ago. That is old. That news is so old. Let me show you something newer. Let's see. Where was that? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to see what it looks like. Here it is. You got polling data up your nose here. This is Real Clear Politics statistics as of this morning. Yeah, as of October 29 at 7:21 a.m. See in the very top corner here. I saved the very top corners so we can. There you go. See, this is 7:21 a.m. today. Here we go. Oop, there we go. Now I'm going to do a little expando so you can see it better. All right. I'll just read them off. Wisconsin, Trump up 1. Minnesota, Harris up 3. Pennsylvania, Trump up 1. Michigan, Trump +1. Michigan multi-candidate. That includes Kennedy, Stein, Oliver, and West. Harris becomes up 3. If everybody that was supporting Kennedy votes for Trump, that makes him 48, Harris 47, and he would be up 1. Just a little note. Texas, Trump up 10. Texas, Trump up 6. Whoops. There you go. If you touch this too many times, it thinks you want to copy it. Oh, my fingers. All right. Look at this one. Virginia, Trump, Harris up 2. 48. Virginia? Really? It's within the margin of error? If it's, you have to be over, 3 or over to be kind of like outside the margin of error. Except for Rasmussen, because that could be a +1er, because they survey, 2,000 or 3,000 people. Anyway, ooh, that's interesting. So with the Rasmussen reports, it's Harris +2. Nebraska, Trump up 15. Another piece of the CD2 portion of Nebraska. I don't actually understand that. Harris is +12. So they divided that up. I don't know how you can divide that up constitutionally because, it's state by state, not portions of states. So I don't, I question the constitutionality of that, being a constitutional scholar that I am. I'm kidding, of course. But I do have a constitution. As a matter of fact, I have like 7 of them here. And anybody that is foolish enough to visit us in the apartment, I provide them with a free constitution and the Bill of Rights and all the amendments. Yeah. Yes, sir, Bob. Okay. Kansas, Trump up 5. Right in the middle of the chart there, national, a Rasmussen report, national, Trump is up 1, 48-47. That's kind of amazing because usually at this time, Trump would be, the other candidate would be up 5, but it's it's Trump up 1, so it's holy mackerel. Either everyone has changed the way in which they poll places, or Trump is going to thump this one. He's going to do very well. I think the question that Reagan asked a long time ago, "You better off now than you were 4 years ago?" Most people say, "No, we're not, because we're spending so much money on food." I mean, it's crazy. Butter is almost $7 a pound. It was $3.50. That's not 20%. It's 100%. It's a double. If they go around and add up all the food prices, I don't know where they get, that it's a 20% increase. It is a 100% increase. That's what inflation has done in the grocery stores. Yes, sir, Bob. All right, national, Trump up 1. Wisconsin State Senate, Baldwin is up 2. Pennsylvania Senate election, McCormick versus Casey, that's a tie. Casey is if I remember right, is a multi-time senator for like 40-something years, and McCormick is trying to knock him off. Casey, I believe, is the incumbent. It's hard to knock off those incumbents because everybody's used to voting for him. But you know what? If we have a down ballot, situation where people just vote Republican all the way and say, let's give these guys a chance because the other guys have loused things up so bad, they need the House and the Senate behind them also. That's what I think. If you're going to give Trump an opportunity to be the change, the agent of change, give him everything. Give him a Republican representative and give him a Republican senator. Also, if your state happens to be electing a senator this time, remember senators get 6-year terms, and only 1/3 of the Senate, approximately 1/3, because 50. If you divide the number of states by 3, it's you have a remainder. You don't have. It's not a. You got 2/3 of a senator. So, sometimes it's 17 and sometimes it's 16. But it's either one or the other. So you only have 16 or 17 senators up for election every 2 years. And you have all of the House up for election every 2 years. And you have the president up for election every 4 years. So you see how it, 2, 4, 6. All right, Pennsylvania Senate race is tied, which I just explained why. The Michigan Senate, tied. Slotkin and Rogers are tied. The Texas Senate, Cruz versus Allred. Cruz is up 4. There we go. We're going to slide that up a little bit. The Texas Senate Rasmussen report has Cruz up 4. The other one was the New York Times Siena poll, Cruz up 4. This is Texas Senate. I get these emails. I'm losing, send me money. He's not losing. Virginia Senate, Kale versus Kane. Kane is up 11. Kane is the incumbent Democrat, and he's looks like he is going to retain his seat. Kane is an impressive character. Yeah. Nebraska Senate, Fisher versus Osborne. It is Fisher up 2. And I believe Fisher is the Republican. Nebraska Senate, special election. Ricketts up 18, 56 to 38. President. In the middle of your screen there, as I hold it up, I let it go, zip, goes back down. There we go, let's hold it up. President Biden job approval rating disapproved by 8. 45% of the country approve it and 53% disapprove it. Yeah. Well, the Democrats are throwing around this "you're a fascist" stuff. I mean, really. Come on, get over it. You have all kinds of information about the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. Let's see if we can get to the beginning of it. Yeah, there we go. That's the M4 chip. I just got a new one on sale for the M3 chip because this was coming out. So the old one gets marked down just a tad, $600 or so. So I upgraded my backup computer from a MacBook Pro to a MacBook Air, which had 24 gigabytes of memory, up from 18, and 1 gigabyte of storage, which should be enough. M4 chip is debuting in the MacBook Pro, which is around 20% faster than the M3 chip, which is already lightning fast. So it's lightning fast plus 20%. There you go, the M3 versus the M4 buyer's guide, and how much better really is the M4 chip? Well, it's 20% faster, according to the multi-core tasks. And here is some, do a reverse pinch here. Here's some statistics about the two chips. I'm not, I'm not talented enough to really, I'm just going to go through some of these things. A 3 nanometer process means the chip is 3 nanometers thick, or 3 nanometers thin. That is millionths of a meter. So that is, a fraction of the diameter of the human hair. So it is really thin, and what really thin does, simplistically, is it cuts down on the power. So they don't get as hot when they're grinding out their results. So they're more power efficient, which means the battery will last longer. It was 3 nanometers, it was 5 nanometers, it's 15, 25. Just a few years ago, they were like 20, 25 nanometers. And they keep, getting thinner and thinner and thinner. 3 nanometers is almost, if it gets too thin, it'll have to be billionths of 3 millionths of a meter. Yeah. So they call that technology N3. Made using, that's the TSMC's technology, producing a 3 nanometer chip for the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 17, I guess. Yeah. This is the M3 and the M4 chip in their computers. Yeah, I think there's a 3 nanometer chip inside our iPhone 16. All right. We're comparing the M3, which is the column on the left, to the M4, which is the 2024 version. You have 25 billion transistors. Can you imagine? As opposed to 28 billion transistors. A 12% increase in the number of transistors. Can you imagine? 25 billion in this chip. That's the size of my pinky nail. It's crazy. You can buy these little SanDisk cards now, for a tetrabyte of memory, 500 gigabytes. That's billions, billion bytes, 15 billion bytes. Eesh, Christ. Galdern. Sorry. The speed, the chip speed, the clock speed went from 405 gigahertz per second to 4.3. So a little faster clock speed. Nothing worth. Nothing. When you get your email, you wouldn't notice. 16-core neural engine with 18 trillion operations per second. And the M4 chip is a 16-core neural engine with 38 trillion operations per second. Oof, it's definitely moving a little quicker by 111% actually. Okay, the LPDDR5 memory. This is the the unified memory that you decide if you want to spend extra money for that 24 gigabytes or the 8 to 18 gigabytes or the 12 gigabytes or the 8 gigabytes, 8, 16, 24, I think, are the three different memory choices. I went to the 24 gigabytes. The memory is important to have. This is the dedicated memory that the computer uses when it does what it does. And more is better. We know that. And it was like a $100 upgrade to go from 12 gigabytes to 24. And knowing what I know about computers, which is, I used to know a lot about it, I know less now because there's so much more to know. I'm sounding like President wannabe Harris. Going around in circles here with this because I don't know a lot about it, and that's maybe that's a signal. Yeah, it sure is. Anyway, so here's a thumbnail of differences between the M4 and the M3. There's a dedicated display engine. So I only use, I'm like a cheater, right? I have an iPad over here, which, I select images and I feed it into the software package that thinks it's a camera, but it's not a camera, it's an iPad. And it doesn't seem to know the difference. So I have an iPad over here, which I read a lot. And when I read a story, or my eye gets caught with a story that is, some interesting, I clip it. So this is my electronic clip. I do a print screen of it, and I crop it so you don't have a lot of extra material, because when you print screen it, you get the whole screen. So I cut off the parts of the screen I don't really care about. So here's, some this guy, I guess, this person, Kimberly, Gedeon, Gideon. I think that would be a proper pronunciation. Kimberly Gideon. Okay, Kim. She said she's tested 59 laptops, and these are the best laptops. And she basically got it down to the Apple laptop, and this Windows operating laptop. That's the headline, which includes the T's. So I clipped some of the story so we can go along here a little bit. So Gideon, this is a story of October 24th, so it's not a today story. It was written, this week. Let's do it that way, or last week, Thursday last week, October 24. This is Tuesday this week, so it's 3 or 4 days old. Not that old, but it's not a today story, but it's close enough. Close enough for hand grenades. Anyway, Apple's Greg Jaswiak made it clear that Apple plans to reveal new products next week, teasing the refresh of the Macs. In a social media post, Jaswiak said to Mac your calendars. How cute. Instead of mark your calendars, we're going to Mac our calendars. I sold my my MacBook Pro that was with an M1 chip. So when you get to the 3 or 4, it's probably time to get rid of the M1 chip before the thing isn't worth anything. So I sold it, And you know what the name of the company is? Mac Me an Offer. Instead of Make Me an Offer, it's Mac Me an Offer. So they specialize in Mac computers, Mac phones, Mac iPhones, and Mac watches. I sold 2 of my watches to Mac Me an Offer. Old ones just sitting up there in a cabinet collecting dust. I converted that dust into about $600, and I got a new Mac. The iPhone. Get my tongue tied here. The Apple Watch. There's the Apple Watch. Oh, you can't see it because where's Jimmy? There's Jimmy. There we go. There we go. You can see it. That's my new. I keep upgrading on these watches and the iPhones because I had quadruple bypass surgery going on 6 years. I survived quadruple bypass surgery. That's the way you have to really think about it, because it's a tough one. Yeah. It didn't seem like that tough. It's probably tough for the doctors. So when I started coming through, waking up, good old Marilyn was there cheering me on as I opened my eyes for the first time. A cranky bastard, Woo! And, they cut open they open you up like a turkey. Worse than a turkey. At least they just cut the meat off the bones. They don't cut you up the middle and crank you open with a crank. Oh, God. And then you get you hanging upside down for about 10 hours. Yeah, it was long surgery. All my relatives were biting their nails for half a day, wondering if I was going to survive this. That's why I say I survived. I am a survivor of bypass surgery. Thank you, Dr. Brian Bethay. He did an outstanding job, and my heart seems to be working properly. I had a visit with my cardiologist, and he listened very carefully. And then he did a EKG, 12 lead EKG, and that screen zipped out real fast. And and then I gave him my EKG because I have a little device. That was a signal that I just got a message. The ballots are being counted. Yes. Of course they are. So Melania was on the morning show on Fox News, and they asked her, "So what are you guys going to do on Election Day?" She said, "Well, we're going to vote. We're going to be in Palm Beach. That's our home, and we're going to go vote, and then we're going to go to their wonderful place on the island of Palm Beach, and they're going to, hang around, and take phone calls and answer, make phone calls, and see the election results come in, from 7 o'clock until 11 o'clock. So that's another 4 hours, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my God. 7 to 12. So you got 5 hours of watching election results come in. And I hope he gets picks up a lot of states that are not even in the swing category, so that we don't have to worry about Pennsylvania, because he's already won with a bunch of other states, that count quick and get it done with. These states where you have 3 days to count, that's bullshit. Everything should be in. Mail-in ballots should be in by 7 p.m. on Tuesday, period. And if they come in late, too bad. It's like if you show up late to the polls. Well, if you show up at 8 o'clock to the polls, you aren't going to be able to vote because they close at 7. Well, mail-in should close at 7. It shouldn't be if the postmark is by 7. It should be when you get it. And if you want to take the risk of mailing a mail-in ballot, mail it a week early, and that way it'll get there in time. Because if you show up late to a poll, you can't vote. And if your mail shows up late to the poll, it won't be counted. It's just that simple. But you have to change. You have to change that the legislature has to change that state by state. Some states, baloney. We need elections so we know who wins on election night, not 3 or 4 days later, when too much shenanigans can happen. You got to watch the polls and make sure no one drops off a suitcase full of ballots. I'm watching the Humana Health notice up here on the delayed news, and I'm switching to United Healthcare, which is part of the AARP, and I'm getting the supplemental because, but I'm going to interrogate them about drugs cost because Novo Nordisk is making too much money. When you're taking Ozempic. Now, I'm an Ozempic user, not because I'm fat, but because I am near diabetic. I'm diabetic. Just forget about it. I'm crowding 80 and I'm diabetic. Never used to have to worry about that, but now I have to worry about that. I was on insulin for years, 4 or 5 years. I was on metformin for a few years, and I decided I don't want to take that, those pills anymore. And, just when Dr. Thomas Lubin says, well, take 3 a day instead of 2. I said, I want to take 0 a day. Let's go to insulin. He said, whoa, there's a curveball. I said, yeah, I just give myself a little poke every day. I've looked around, and the Novo Nordisk system seems to be the most convenient way to give yourself a little, subcutaneous. How about that word? Subcutaneous. Yeah, that's where the needle sticks just as deep under the skin. That's all. The needle is 5 millimeters long, and it's just enough to get under the skin, and you inject your insulin, in the area of your fatty tissue, and it gets absorbed into your bloodstream over, half hour, 45 minutes. It starts floating around in there, and it controls your blood sugar. Well, Ozempic, you take a shot once a week, and it controls your blood sugar. It slows down your whole alimentary canal, apparently. And it really is an amazing method of controlling your blood sugar. I'm a scientist kind of a person, and I look at the results and I see the graphs, clearly indicated on my iPhone with the information that comes off your Apple Watch or however you input, blood sugar. I have, what do you call it? I use the Abbott Laboratories thing that you put on your arm, which has a... Wow, you got a little buzz sign in there. That's, I just got a text message from somebody. Newsmax. Watch Trump remarks at the Mar-a-Lago. They have a little spot marked out in their Mar-a-Lago campus where they have high quality digital cameras that the networks can pick up when one of the family members or Trump himself has something to say. Well, apparently, who is it? Yeah, President Trump has live remarks from Mar-a-Lago now. At 10:15 a.m. So in 15 minutes, you can click on to his remarks if you're so inclined, and see what he has to say about whatever he wants to talk about. So he's he went home for the day. I'm sure he's. I don't know. This is. Elections. Now he's still going to do 2 or 3 appearances. He's going to be back up in New York and doing. He's all over the place. He's got his jet. He's got his pilots. He's got his cabin help. He's got that $80 million, $80 million, not 79, $80 million, at least. It's probably $100 million Boeing 757 jet. It's a big wide body. It's a big jet. And it's got Trump written, right on the front of it. Yep, you hear that other buzz? It goes, Elon Musk has something to say. Let's see what he has to say. Let me just pull down this thing right here. So that's live from Mar-a-Lago. Maine lobsters, no. There. Musk has his dark MAGA hat. So you can go online and buy a dark MAGA hat for $5. Yeah. I think I have a Trump hat here somewhere. I don't think I need a dark MAGA hat. You can't wear this stuff. I mean, they'll throw rocks at you. These Democrats are, primitive. Anyway, so I got my backup computer. It's up and running. It's amazing how you can back up your computer. I'm going to show you. I think I'm going to show you. There it is. So here's, can you see it? Yeah. So this is a super duper pooper scooper high speed wire. You got to get, I got a UPS package coming at 12:30 today. If you're wondering what all these, I get messages continuously. It's terrible. So, you not only have to get, some of the best devices, but you got to get the best wire, or else the signal, this is 100 megabit per second wire. Anyway, God, USB-C. You can see the USB-C. This is the very Apple basically has forced everybody to use the USB-C as your method of sending signals around. There you go. It clicks right in, which I like. It's a sturdy plug. Breaking news from Georgia. So there you go. And then I would unplug one of these things, which I'm not going to do now because then I would either lose this or I'd lose the sound, and then it would be silent movies. Anyway, so you plug that in, and every hour it updates the entire operating system, computer system, everything about it gets updated every hour. So then I turned off this computer, put it to sleep, and then pulled this thing out. Yeah. And then plugged it into the new one that showed up yesterday. And within 30, 45 minutes, the over 1 million files that make up this 80 gigabyte backup, or I forgot to look at how many gigabytes it is, but let's just say 100 gigabytes of information then gets transferred. I know it's like 1,000,002 files. Jeez, gets put on the new computer, exact mirror image of this one. It's amazing. So it's a backup in case something happens to Mama. I can put one of her children, Siri Bob. So I had this array of of devices: old iPad, relatively new, Rodecaster Pro, Roman numeral 2, my soundboard, which controls the volume levels of that. That is what do you call it? The sound from instrumental, epidemic instrumental, yeah. And that is being played through. It is royalty free, so I'm allowed to put it in my. I can rebroadcast it on my show here. It's my background music, as you know. And that's coming through. Sorry for the delay. I'm looking for. There it is. That's coming through Safari, which I don't think I can show Safari on there. I can see it. I don't think you can. Anyway, it's a 3-hour this tune, Epidemic Sound Instrumental without a copyright. It runs for 3 hours, 1 minute, and 24 seconds. Yep. Just Dreams sound. Yep, that's what he calls it. So I run Safari, and because I am a YouTube subscriber, I get this music and I can use it. So I go to youtube.com, watch, and all these characters. Anyway, it's because of my YouTube professional subscription, because I'm a YouTube professional subscriber, not just a regular subscriber. It's a step up, meaning, it's $15 a month instead of $10, and I got access to 1 million songs or whatever. But most importantly, it's part of my Simulcast. You can see up top there, YouTube Live, FAU for you. And this broadcast is live right now on YouTube, and it's really good. I'm really liking the YouTube everything. I mean, that's my go-to on my big TV in the living room when we're watching the news or watching, shows. Lioness, oh my God! If you're an action adventure, shoot 'em up, very sophisticated, scripts or storylines, but it's a secret ops kind of a thing, it's a step more secret than the Secret Service. Yeah. Oh boy, it is the super duper Secret Service kind of people. Or CIA. I think it's a super duper CIA. Yeah, I think that's the way they characterize it. It's like a black ops stuff. No one knows. When they show up, you just, bow to them and kiss their ring and get out of the way. Because as soon as they show up, they are the most senior officer, period. That's what one of them said in the last episode. I'm here. That makes it, I am the most senior person on this campus, regardless of what kind of people you got here. Yeah, I outranked them, period. End of story. Anything else you want to talk about? Yes, sirree. They have some good, and guess who writes it? Taylor Sheridan, the guy who's done Yellowstone, and I mean, he's written, oh my God, this guy is so prolific. And when you write a story, I mean, just think about it. You not only have to have the scripts, of the dialogue, where Mr. Wilson says hello, and then you have to write everything he says after hello, and then he's talking to the other person, and then you have to write back what the other person says. But not only that, you got to tell everybody what's on the left side if you look left, and if you look right, what's on the right side, and what color shirt they were wearing, and what kind of clothing the other guy had on, and are you standing on the sand or are you standing on travertine marble? Or, I mean, you have to set up the entire scene, and it's all in written word, and then that written word then gets looked at by the people that you're trying to aggregate with your people, so that you have a show, a movie set, and the fancy effects and the cameras and the crew and the lighting and the audio and it goes on and on. It's the writer writes it out. Well, he not only writes it, he's directing it, I believe. So Lioness is the most unbelievable show. I mean, the next episode is Sunday. I can't wait till Sunday. Oh my God. Well, last week, they started season 2 of Lioness. Now, Paramount Plus's navigation tools with your remote control that Xfinity gives you, which is not a very comprehensive remote control, but it's annoying to use, actually. They may have a better one, but I don't like to call them. It's so annoying to have to call them. But I actually should, to see if it seems like there's more. There should be more buttons. But you can't see the episodes like 1, 2, 3. You just click on it. I don't know. Anyway, so last week they released 2 episodes of season 2. So as soon as you click on the button that says watch, so I watch it, and it went right to the first episode of season 2, and then it goes up automatically to the second episode of season 2, and they're like 54-minute episodes. The other 7 minutes and an hour would be, some kind of advertising, if they had advertising, which they don't, because we're paid subscribers to, Paramount Plus for some reason, and probably because of some other thing that we watch on it, which will be unmentioned here because I don't remember what other show that would be. Anyway, so that was 106. 53 plus 54 plus 54. That's 108 minutes. It's 90, 100. So that's more than an hour. That's like an hour and 40 minutes. All right, something like that. and it's the fastest hour and 40 you've had in your entire life. I mean, these episodes are so action-packed, you're like glued to the screen, and all of a sudden it's all over. God damn. Where's the next episode? Well, you got to wait till Sunday, So Sunday morning or sometimes Sunday. I think it's Sunday morning, I don't know what time zone they, clock, the next episode, but it seems like the first 2 episodes of season 2 were available by 8 a.m. So it could be 8 a.m. on Sunday. You could watch, hopefully it's 2 more episodes. I don't know why it was 2 last week. Maybe it'll be 2 this week. That'd be nice, because that'd be another hour and a half of, I mean, you almost want to watch the first 2 over again because they're really remarkable. But, this season 1, which is also remarkable, I will say that the first couple of episodes, it has to do with training the main operative of, this Black Ops people. And they beat up the person, they drown the person, it's like almost creating hamburger out of this person. It's kind of like too much. So the first episodes of season 1, you gotta get through that. And once you get through that, then it's a very interesting next 6 episodes. I forget how many total, whether it's 8 or 10. Or, it's not 10, so maybe it's 6, 7, or 8 in the first season. I'm going to say 8, but I had to guess. Anyway, so the first 2 episodes of season 1, you got to deal with that. Just as a little warning. They warn you that this is, an intense. It's intense. So if you're into intensity, watch this one. If you can't take intensity, watch something else. They say it in a nicer way, but that's the message delivered. So if you can stand intensity, have at it. If you can't, step out of the room, please. Anyway, but season 2 is intense also, but I mean, it's an action adventure, cram-packed. It is unbelievable. Oh, God, it's so exciting. I've never been so excited about a stupid television show. Anyway, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Got 5 more days before it's Sunday. Holy mackerel. And then it's only a couple of days for Election Day. Oh, God. God, save us, please. Oh, anyway, so here's the M3 chip we're talking about. Look at that. And we've got the benchmark results between the M3 chip. So the computer I just got is an M3 chip. And, of course, the M4 chip's coming out tomorrow. In one day, I've become a little tiny bit obsolete. But, screw it. That one day I end up with a savings to a certain degree. And I don't need that many teraflops, It runs this broadcast beautifully. I have to I got to figure out how to set up the cameras, because that didn't seem to, with Ecamm Live, because remember that other computer is a mirror image of this one. And I have to figure out how to get the cameras right. They weren't coming up on the thing, so I think I got to do one by one and plug it directly in here instead of through this other little device. I have one of these devices here plugged in where it converts a C port into 4 or 5 other kinds of ports, a C and an A and an A plus, and it'll take. It's got 2 slots in there for the itty bitty data card, whatever they call that, a micro mini something or other, and then the standard what do they call that card? SD card. I don't know. I do not know what SD stands for. It's probably something digital. It's an SD card. That's like Sam, D like dog. SD card, yeah. And it has all kinds of, sizes. 512 gigabytes, So I'm interested in maybe using one of those cards because now this disk device, which I showed you, I stuck underneath here. There we go. Let's pull it back out. Underneath this computer, I hide some of the stuff that I don't use like every day. I plug this in like once a week, and I was plugging in it every day because I knew I had a new computer coming. So I figured let's get oops, you hear that? My primary computer updated in here. This is a 2 terabyte solid disk drive. It's fast and it's got all the things that you want to hear about. It's made by Samsung. I can see Sam out here, and the other half of the tape has the song part. Anyway, so this I think is a 2 terabyte, which is 2,000 gigabytes. 2 terabytes. The computer is 1 terabyte, I believe. So there's plenty of room to back up all the files and have backups of the backups. It makes a main backup, I think, how the system works, where all files get, put in a certain partition on the disk, and then the next, so then every day it'll say what's the difference between what's here and what's there, and it says, well, you got to 28 new files, because of these new images that popped up. So then it'll make a little sub file for just the 28, and then if you remove some files and then add in some files, what's the difference between the state of the drive now and today? And well, these files were put on and these files are taken off, and it creates a block of information the day after, and that's what it does every day, or I think I have it set for every hour of every day. So it makes all these files, and then when you want to create the backup in another computer, or if you have to restore your hard drive for something or other because something went drastically wrong with your computer and you had to reformat it and all that kind of stuff, then you can just plug this in, and the computer, you can either get the information from the internet, because I've signed up for the internet service up in the cloud, so that I can go through the Wi-Fi signal. Here's my software update. I don't think you can see this because it's in the operating system of the computer. I guess you could see it if you can see this display from the camera, but I can't show you a full screen. So it shows the macOS Sequoia 15.1, and the software version is 24BB3. Yeah, this is from Apple, and it was last checked today at 10:24 a.m., which it is, and it says your Mac is up to date. Yeah. So let's Time Machine, I think it's called. Oh, maybe. Oh, I got to click that. Let's see. T-I-M-E. Time machine, yeah. So it was on Time Machine, it was backed up, into the Time Machine files, and also up, in my internet account. It was done at 8:45 a.m. yesterday morning. Yeah, all right, let's get rid of this. There you go. It's all very, somewhat automatic. It is automatic. You have to set it up, so it takes you a while to set it up. A week. So you end up learning about all kinds of stuff, So that's how you keep your, mind working. You got to get involved in stuff. So, I have this show every day at 9. Now it's not 9 o'clock. Marilyn told me you got to have a time. If you're going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever, if you're going to do it every day, then you have to do it on a time so people can tune into you. I noticed my son, Daniel, tells me he listens to these things. That's pretty cool, Anyway, so we're talking about M3 chips and M4 chips. You can see I'm reverse pinching so you can see this image that I did a print screen. There you go. Single core CPU performs at 3088, and the other one, the new one, is 3864. It's a 25% increase in the single core CPU speed test. That's what that means. And if you're doing the benchmark using the multi-core, it's the same processor, but you can select single core and multi-core. So if you do the multi-core test, it scored 11,711, and the new M4 chip, scores out at 15,288. That's up 30%. So there's a 30% increase in the speed of the multi-core portion of your chip. And the Metal, which is a new programming language that Apple came up with, METAL graphic, is for the crazy graphic people that write these, spectacular video games. They write their software in the Metal. So they get to that portion of the processing. And the M3 chip scores out at 47,466. And the M4 chip scores out at 57,603, which is a 21. So it's 20 to 30% increase when you compare the M3 to M4 chip. Anyway, here's another breakdown. So we did the 3 nanometer business, and stop it. I'm trying to get rid of that. Boom. There we go. The clock speed, 405 gigahertz. The M4 chip clocks out at 4.3 gigahertz, so that's a little bit of an increase. You got 18 trillion operations as opposed to 38 trillion operations per second, 100% increase. Yeah. This is an important one. The unified memory, that's the LPDDR5 memory chips. That's for your unified memory now. It's not processor. It has the M3 as it interfaces with the LPDDR5 chip. It's 100 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth. That's how fast information can come and go into the memory. So oftentimes the processor will throw information into the core memory, so then it'll come back after it to, use that information in a later operation. So, there's stuff coming and going in and out of memory. The new memory is called LPDDR5X, as opposed to just the LPDDR5. So they added an X to it, which it's 20% faster in bandwidth. Yeah. And it has a dedicated display engine, whatever that means. So it inside the memory core, there's an engine that works with your display, your screens. It could be a multi-screen or a single screen. I have single screen on my laptop here. I don't have room for. I'd have to put it. Yeah, no, we don't need one of those. I could put it up on the wall over here. Yeah, I thought about it. I figured I'd get a. I have a screen actually that's sitting in the, next to the hot water heater, and it's a 18-inch display, which I have you can actually have it on a roller cart. Like a display that you see on a roller cart in a hospital. I have one of those for some reason. It came with the big TV. I think it was a package deal. So you're not going to throw it away. So it's in the closet. I plugged it in. I know it works. I have a port. I actually added this multi-port thing that comes off the USB-C. And it has some dedicated ports for that, for a display like that. I don't think you can Bluetooth it. It's too much information for Bluetooth, probably. Go back and forth. Anyway, I have an 18-inch screen. I got no place to put it. I mean, I could mount it on this wall here, but or have it on the cart and have it over here. So you see a real big one of these, like the big boys. Forget it. It's in the utility room. I can do without it. So anyway, I'm looking at the different benchmark tests. So it's like 20 or 30% better in everything. And Julie Clover is the one that gave all this information to us on Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, October 28th. So that's yesterday. She came up with all this information about what's going on with iOS 18. And iOS 18 is the beginning of, the AI, the Apple intelligence, the artificial intelligence that everyone's all worried about, which I think is a little silly, but they're worrying about it's going to take over the planet, and I don't think so. The most interesting thing about the polling data that I saw today, and I look at all of this, and some of you are wondering, what does Jimmy think? I actually wrote a book, a book of information about what's Jimmy think. I got 700 articles that I've written, and the name of the internet site is What's Jimmy Think? Yeah, it's a WordPress multi-chapter, and I've got 700. I don't know the exact count. It's like 750 articles, separate articles that I've published, through the WordPress, and it's there. You can do it right now. www.html FAU for you, .wordpress.com. And I think you'll find all my articles. I've written a lot of articles about the Tesla vehicle and the Tesla battery, with a particular attention to the battery. I wrote a lot of articles about that, because you got to be up to speed when you're dealing with the American public, and you don't want to. I don't want to give any misinformation. I give a lot of information and try to have no misinformation. Well, you got to be well read on the topic. You have to have the right data. Like I have all these things saved here because, someone may challenge the fact that I'm giving out information as opposed to misinformation. Yeah. Remember, this person has done research on which is the best iPad. I personally like the Apple operating system. Now I'll tell you, my son, when my kid was like 13 years old, he said, "Dad, please no more," because I would update my Windows computer, laptop. I'd get a new, and I'd give my old one to one of I'd clean it up, get rid of all my stuff off there, leave the operating system on, and then here's Daniel, here's the first one, Brennan, here's the second one. I think I got Brennan the first one, and Daniel got the second one. Daniel didn't want the third one Brennan didn't want the third one because he doesn't want to keep changing things every year. Daniel said, "Fine, I'll take it." So he got the fourth one. So he got two in a row, and Daniel said I asked Daniel to give the new files that he really needs. So, pausing his sample. Anyway, so it came down to two laptops. It came down to an Apple laptop and a Windows laptop. And the Windows laptop edged out the Apple laptop by a smidgen. So I'm sticking with my Apple system. Everything. Nice thing about the Apple, the way the devices communicate with each other is so in the background, automatic, and so forth. Like if I update a picture on this, 13-inch iPad, like if I work on one of these print screen pictures, there we go. There it is. Let's put that over there. Slide this up to turn it on. Go check out my face if you can. I can't. I have to put my password in, which I just did. There you go. See, look at that. I got the same October 29th image. Look at that. Presidential preference. This day in history. 41% are against Clinton, and against Biden in October. Campaign countdown. Harris, Trump locked in a margin of error race. Yep. Since all these states seem to be, less than 3%, difference, they're all in the margin of error, so it's hard to predict when it's that tight. But you can see that Trump is, like, I actually don't know how to read this chart. I'm looking at, 42.5%, 47%. He's down 5 on that one. He's down, 8 on that one. I don't know. I don't know what to. I'm looking at this chart, and I don't know what it means. Yeah, I have to play back the program. I picked this up at 7 p.m. yesterday. I can see the time and the date of the picture when I did the print screen. So this was last night's news. I'd have to play that tape back and figure out what the heck is he talking about. I've seen it before, but I don't know how to explain it. I can't tell what kind of data they're talking about here. It's a real clear politics average of something. Campaign countdown. They're locked in a margin of error race. Well, that I can understand, but I don't get it with 47% of people were against Clinton, and 51% are against Biden. I put this thing on. Then it changes to 42, 43. All right. It is what it is, but I don't know what it I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. It's unexplainable without some dialogue on that one. Let's pull this up. You can only deal with so much at a time. So here, the iPhone, we meaning me, me, myself, and I, the three of us, are Apple beta testers. And there's like a couple of million of us. I'm going to say 2.5 million Apple data takers. You got to be 18 years of age, or you touched the pennies, nickels, and dimes that show up in an old coin anywhere, most everywhere. Anyway, so the Apple 18, version 18, beta 7, this is, all involving iOS 18.1. Well, if you're a beta tester, we've had seven groups of beta information that has been thrown into our devices. And I'm hoping, I wrote an article to Apple as a beta tester and said, hey, we are, you go through this scenario, it's part of this and part of that. And you go down this family tree, figuring where your little bucket of information goes. And they said, we thank you for creating it. That was, I told her. So they're giving you suggestions on what to do to get ready for 18.1, which has to do with your Apple. I think you get you get up to the beta 7, and that's beta 5. I think is when your operating system is really available using the artificial intelligence features. Then we get into Melania Trump's visit, on the curvy couch. You got her right smack in the middle, and she has her book that everyone gets a book. Goes in the show. The publisher gives her so many books, she's allowed to hand them out among themselves. And it's just this big Melania. They've got a special edition, which I'm glad I learned about, because I'll get that instead of the regular book, because it's bigger, it has more pictures in it, and pictures are important. She's taken a lot of pictures. She is in a lot of pictures that have been taken by others. And you know what they say? A picture is worth 1,000 words. And she has a lot to say. She's a smart cookie. She's, I need to say that. My mother spoke 5 languages. Can you imagine? French, English, Latin, German, Spanish. Okay? I mean, Latin. How about that one? Latin and French. Latin, French, English. Those were the primary languages. Her parents are German descendants, so she spoke German. And she spoke English because she was born in the United States. Anyway. So I can tell you that when someone that if you know somebody that is fluent in 5 languages, that's a lot of bits and bytes in that computer. So her main language was English, but her, secondary languages were, French, French and Latin. She was a Latin person. She was really interested in Latin. The Egyptians, the ancient ones spoke Latin, among other things. But anyway, Melania the same way. She's fluent in 5 languages, including her native language. She grew up in Slovenia, so. So that's my story there. So we have a lot of Melania pictures because she showed up. She's looking down at something that she's talking to Melania about. I'm gonna anyway work on the borders of this using Photoshop elements. You see the data line coming down here. I'll get that out of view. She's impressive. Highly accented. Her native language. She's still got the tongue for, and my mother was very careful to train us as children, if you will, so that we would be accentless. So our English, we spoke the King's English. and we spoke it like, aristocracy would require, which means, perfect English. No accents on the wrong syllable. Yeah, she was very picky about that. Well, apparently Melania's parents were not, because her native language is essentially all about her not so native language. Anyway, here's switching stories here. This is a gentleman in the Apple store. He's so anyway, this next story has to do with a gentleman in India, the country of India. It's a big country. It actually has almost the same population as China. So you're talking about over 1 billion people. That's 3 times, the United States has 340, 50 million, 350 million, 360 million. India has 1 billion more people. So it's so I'll leave it at that. So India is nothing to sneeze at. It's a big country. People look at, think about India as just some other country over there. It's a big country. It takes up, a picture I had hanging on it. All right, here's a picture of this gentleman in India holding all these iPhones. And basically what's going on here is that Apple, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that it is manufacturing, they're manufacturing and exporting $6 billion, that's with a B, $6 billion worth of India, the country of India, made iPhones, and sending it off to customers, in their same way, but the phones were manufactured in India instead of where they're currently being made, which is probably, well, I guess China, where that iPhone was made. And they're upping it so that the source of these iPhones is not going to be dependent on China. Apparently, there's something that's scaring them about China. Yes, sir. We'll have to work on that and see what's going on. All right. It's 11 o'clock. Been on the air an hour and 40 minutes. I think that's enough. They're starting to, call him wild and crazy now. The media is starting to attack Elon Musk because he has, come behind, Trump in a big way. Make America Great Again hat, see that? In black with the white tapestry on the hat. They're starting to sell them. So it's a black cap instead of a red cap. Anyway, he's very excited about this election because he's worried about the First Amendment. And when you get worth so much, it seems like you want to make impressions on other things. And although he's concerned about what the residual negative benefits might be from him picking sides in this contest, he thought it was worth the risk. And one of the risks is, people stop using his products. His cars are amazing. We've driven two of them. We're on our second Tesla, which is a marked improvement from the first Tesla, which is hard to believe because, it's an amazing vehicle. The tires were so, after 3 years of lease, we turned the car in with the tires, didn't need a single tire replaced. Never had really any service things to talk about. I printed a list of cars here, or I'm not this list, but I have information about our battery, there's nothing to report. There was no service performed on the car. Everything. I said, well, when do I need to bring it in? He said, well, you don't really need to bring it in. If you want to bring it in and turn over, we'll take a peek at it and see if anything's leaking or anything like that. Any lights come on? This one leaking, that one leaking? Nope, no leaks. All right, we'll take the battery out of the car and so we're going to test the pH of my water. Look at this. Steve Bannon was released from jail. He was in jail because it was contempt of Congress. He wanted something. Congress asked for something. The contents of his desk, or they wanted something. And he said, no, I'm not giving you anything. He said, it may have been even more indirect. He's walking around with an iPhone. Where'd you get it? I bought it at this store. Or would you get approval from the, from your electric supplier or whatever? He said, no, I haven't communicated. You're allowed to use the phone, and it provides the ability to save things about the phone that you've said in a conversation or you haven't said. So if you want to be a real stickler about it, yeah. Anyway, Steve Bannon was released from prison. He was in there, I think, 4 months for contempt of Congress. So the judge ordered him to jail. So he went to Danbury, Connecticut. Apparently they have a prison thing in Danbury, Connecticut. We had a summer house near Danbury, Connecticut, coincidentally. And he got released this morning. And he's talking already, and they haven't news people, I don't know how people follow these characters all over the planet. Anyway, he was released this morning, early this morning. And the media is already all over him. And he's very interested. America's Voice. I can't see what the name of the channel is. Right wing. He was actually in the White House for a while. Not a long time. Then they took him out of the White House for some reason. Anyway, there's these guys dealing with iPhones. Just getting a check. I think it's another one of those $1 million checks, yeah. There's the crew. Fox and Friends in the morning. Melania Trump joins Fox and Friends live studio audience. But more importantly, she meets the 4 key characters that deliver the news every day for Fox. Say goodnight to me. It's 11:01. You all have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning.